Welcome to OSX for Writers. This is Adam. Today I want to show you 3 choices that you can use as a writer when you are on OSX. Now, there are a million different apps that you can get, both from the Apple App Store on your Mac or from off the internet, and there are many choices. These are just 3 of my favorites that I want to share with you today. The first one is the Mac-centric choice, OmmWriter. OmmWriter is a beautiful app. It works really well, both on a Mac and on an iPad. And OmmWriter has some special things that make it really dear to the Mac community. Let's have a look. When OmmWriter starts up, you see it's very plain. There are a number of different backgrounds you can change. You have different options for background music, from actual music to sounds like fires or water. There's also one of my favorites is keyboard sounds. They're not really typewriter sounds, but that's okay. I think it helps me to focus personally when I'm using this. Now, when you are saving, there's a couple of different options you can have. You can export in text if plain text is your thing. You can export as PDF. You can export as RTF. Any of these works really well. And if you have cloud backup, having one folder that you use specifically for backing up your OmmWriter files works really well. I like to write in plain text, but depending on you which format you like to use, OmmWriter could be a really good choice for you. One thing that a lot of people don't like, you're a bit limited in the types of fonts you can use and the size. So, especially for people who are looking to have larger text, if your screen isn't very big, or if you just like to have larger text when you're writing, this is the largest text size you can have. And for me, it's not as big as I would like. I like to be able to see really clearly without straining my eyes. But OmmWriter is a beautiful app and it works really well. Please note it does not sync between the Mac version and the iOS version. So if you have it on your iPad and on your Mac, you're not going to be able to sync files between the two. Now the next choice is Focuswriter. Focuswriter has long been a darling of the open source community. It came out not long after OmmWriter, and it follows the same principles. A very simple window that you can use, but unlike OmmWriter, which comes with a set number of backgrounds and a set number of font choices, with Focuswriter you can really customize it any way that you'd like. Now this is what my Focuswriter looks like. I have a background that I like. You can see this is my text window here, and I have a font that I like. If you go to the top or the bottom of Focuswriter, you can see there are some different options that pop up. If you want to change the theme, you can do that under Settings, Themes, and you can modify. For example, if you just want a color, you can have a color that you use for your background. If you want an image, you can go through and pick a different image and apply that. You can change the foreground. Now what I have here is just a white foreground that I have turned down the opacity so you can see the background, but you can still see your text above it. You can change the size of the foreground and a number of different options. Here you can change the text. Now if you have a special text that you like, you can do that, and you can also change the color of the text. And once you've got something you like, then you're ready to go. Now for saving, the options you have here are the open text document, which is what OpenOffice or LibreOffice uses, RTF, which is rich text or plain text. So it doesn't have the PDF option, but other than that, it's very similar to OmmWriter in terms of what it can save. If you're more into Markdown, there's a number of excellent programs for Markdown, but one that I really like is called OmmWriter. Now, for those of you that don't know what Markdown is a way to notate HTML. HTML is, along with plain text, are probably the most flexible and most compatible formats you can use in your writing. If you save your writing in plain text, any computer will be able to open it. And this is the original format that computers used from the beginning. So plain text means computers in the future are most likely going to be able to open your file as well. Besides plain text, HTML is probably the most compatible because every modern computer has a web browser. If you write in HTML, that means that any computer will be able to open it. Now, what Markdown does is it makes it very easy for anybody who's not a coder to use HTML. And let me give you a quick glance of what this looks like. This is the OmmWriter window. Now here you can see it opened up and it has an example of the Markdown text. You can learn what each of these things does. For example, the £sign is a way to mark a header. You can have bulleted lists, you can have numbered lists. There are also ways that you can add lists with hyphens, and you can do very simple things like this to make it italicized. If you add a second star, it makes it bold. If you add a third star, you have bold italics. So this is a very simple thing, a simple way to add some styling to your writing, but in a way that is also compatible with plain text. It takes a little bit of getting used to. Spend 15 minutes. You can learn the whole Markdown system, and it's really changed the way that I write. Now, some nice things here. You can preview, and it will pop up immediately a preview of what you've done. And you can see that the headers come out, different levels of headers. There's lists, there's bulleted lists, there's numbered lists, there's nesting lists, there's block quotes. All the different things that you can do in HTML, you can do here in Markdown. But when you save it, you're able to save in a number of different formats. Here it has the MD format, which is great. You could save it to MD, or you could save to TXT. Either one will work. MD is not a format that I like to use. I like to use TXT. But if you do save in MD, there are lots of different editors that are able to open that as well. So this is a quick list of 3 text editors that I like on OSX. In the comments, let me know what you like, and check out Haiku Deck. It's a really cool app that I like to use for presentations. All right, I hope this has been useful for you. Let me know in the comments if there's any other editors that you like to use.